How to develop hypnotic eyes, or how to just look at somebody and make them go into a trance eventually, or just to use these soft eyes or wide eyes, if I read that comment correctly. So it wasn't a question. So there is an exercise in an NLP program in the sensory acuity section, of course I know what it is about, where you have to put your two index fingers in front of you, focus on them and pull them apart until they leave your field of vision. While pulling them apart, you have to think wide eyes or soft eyes. I'm not sure what it meant, etc. So to answer your question, I see what it means. It is just not the way I would have explained it, but I think it is the same technique in the end. You might see many more references to this concept by typing the 3 points of attention. It was a shamanic concept that was popular at some point, but it is kind of the same idea. The idea is to, when you do that, if I take your exercise here, if you do that, you have your fingers like this and you try to focus on it, and then you must defocus your eyes almost, because you can't obviously put your eyes on the sides like that. Maybe some people can, but it would be weird. Basically, most normal human beings can't just do that. However, the idea here behind this specific technique is to develop your peripheral vision. So with the 3 points of attention, which is the same thing with a different method, if I, for example, put my hands right here, I have talked about that in other videos, but maybe you didn't see them. If I put my hands right here, you can see them from the corners of your eyes. You don't look at my hands like that. Even if you look at my face, you focus on my eyes or the tie or whatever you focus on. Or I know it is on your screen right now, so it may not be as relevant as if I was in front of you physically, but you can imagine that vividly. I am just in front of you, you watch my face, and you can see my hands from the corners of your eyes, from your peripheral vision. You are aware of my hands without turning to look at them. You're aware of that. Now, if I put my hands down, but you keep that level of focus, and you look at what was past my hands, so what is behind, you look at that, but you are aware of that, but you still watch my face, and specifically into my eyes. You can focus on one eye or the other. The idea is to better develop that acuity of being in the moment with the other person, and when you do that, you are getting your brain into an altered state, because it is too much work. The way I like to explain it, it is too much work for the brain to do that, on top of overthinking and over-intellectualizing about a million things at the same time. What should I say next? What did I say? Blah, blah, blah. If you just focus on that, your brain is shut down to some extent, in the right way, because you shut down the monkey mind that keeps like talking, and you can just focus on the person. That was the idea initially behind that. And if you speak to somebody while maintaining that gaze, that relaxed, defocused but present gaze at somebody else, the idea is that, as any hypnotic process, you go first. So if you put yourself in some altered state like that, your voice is going to adapt, your physiology is going to adapt, you're going to think more clearly, you're going to have better ideas about what to say to the person in front of you at this moment, and they are going to go in trance also at some point. If you maintain that state long enough, they are going to decrease their anxiety, their pressure, their whatever negative state can be here, and they are going to follow you on your state. The idea obviously is to develop that sense of awareness, develop that state first yourself, so that it becomes automatic when you talk to people, and you don't even need to focus on it. It is just about being focused in a relaxed way. So initially, this idea, I had read about that before briefly, so it is the same thing. It's just that when you do that, obviously if you try to stay aware of both fingers when you move them like this, your eyes are going to defocus, because you can't stay aware of what is on the sides while maintaining too much focus on one or the other. You have to defocus and let your brain being appeased, cool down, to let your eyes be aware of what is around. It is the same thing for a fighter. We teach them, to avoid being too intensely focused on just the right punch, because it could come from anywhere else. Specifically, if you're fighting in the street, it can come from any place, anywhere. So the idea is to stay aware of what is around. The big point of doing that in NLP, in hypnosis, is that when you defocus and start being more aware of all of those things, you are going to catch all the non-verbals of the person in front of you, and your unconscious mind will grasp all those nonverbals more easily. So the change of vocal tonality, the change in their eye contact, the change in the way they scratch their face, all of those small signals that appear like irrelevant for people who just want to learn how to hypnotize somebody, or the best sleight of mouth method. Yeah, guess what, my friends? All those small things that are irrelevant, they are the foundation of using sleight of mouth, of using covert hypnosis, of influencing somebody, persuading, sales, whatever you want to do. This nonverbal acuity is the foundation. If you don't have it, and if you don't have basic rapport skills, all the rest is completely irrelevant. You don't even need to learn it, you won't even be able to use it. However, if you focus first on being able to be so aware of the person in front of you that you even forget about what is inside your own head for a minute, because you're so much focused on them, you don't even think about saying anything yet, then you are going to grasp the deeper side of what they say. You are going to catch the deeper meaning behind their words. And you are almost going to speak to the deeper identity, because you are going to see what their unconscious mind is communicating to you through the nonverbals, which most people don't pay attention to because they just focus on what did they say? What is the meaning of what they said? Yeah, the words are one part of the communication, but it is not the only thing. You have all the nonverbal aspect beyond that. And sometimes in this, 3 points of attention concept, they even talked about doing it for your own problems. Like you write down in your journal something about a problem you have, an issue, and then you look at this, at the problem or an image of the problem, and you do the same defocus. Like you start being relaxed and checking what is beyond that, and just noticing, if you maintain that state for 5 to 10, 15 seconds, noticing what thoughts come to your mind. What thoughts come to your mind when you think about the problem in a relaxed, almost trance state? It will definitely not be the same ideas, solutions and concepts as the ones you thought about when you were stressed out and you had to find an answer right away. In those stressed out states, nothing good comes out of the brain, or very seldom does it happen. However, when you are in a really relaxed state like this, meditative state almost, you can find answers from your unconscious mind more easily, because now the bridge is open, if I can call it that way. The door is open. If you are too stressed out, you are basically blocking the signals your unconscious mind is sending you. If you are in a relaxed, almost a trance state as you listen to somebody, or as you look at the problem you have at hand to deal with at hand, your unconscious mind is going to trigger way better resources and way better answers and solutions than if you obsess over finding an answer with your conscious mind, which is really limited. So that is the idea behind this, soft eyes, wide eyes. I guess just because physiologically, the eyes become maybe wider as you defocus the muscles around. So I guess it is the idea behind calling that wide eyes or soft eyes. But it is a concept just almost like do meditation. That is, I guess, the end answer here. Do meditation and practice getting into a relaxed state yourself, so that you can access that state at will whenever you will need to face a confrontation verbally, or whenever you will need to help somebody in coaching if you're a coach, or just when you will persuade, or when you will have something to deal with on your own, with your own brain that doesn't want to shut up because they are it's arguing and sending you tons of worrying things to think about, and pooh, you relax all of that and you have access to much more clarity about what you can do.